Okay. Okay. Guess where we are?
Where, Pej? Where are we?
Welcome to Pej's Recovery Corner. I'm here today with my dear friend, Jordie. In some circles, Jordan, but Jordie.
Yeah.
It's so good to have you on today.
Thank you for having me here today.
Truly, like you're one of my best friends, and you. I don't know if you know that or not, but I love and adore you. It's so good to have you. I've wanted you on the podcast for a while now.
And
It
it
finally
just
worked out to
hasn't happened.
where you've been off work and
Yeah.
or where I forget or don't forget to schedule. But so what's going on with you? First of all, uh, welcome to the corner. I wanted to learn about you, learn about where you were born, raised, how it all went down, and then we'll get into other stuff after that. But go ahead and talk about yourself.
Okay. Well, as Pej said, I'm Jordie, um, alcoholic. I was born in Ventura County, and then I kind of was raised in the San Fernando Valley. So my parents didn't want me going to school in the San Fernando Valley for whatever reasons they had. And so we would travel every morning to Ventura County, and I would go to school down there. I went to Westlake High.
All the way from the valley to Westlake's not that far.
Yeah, it was every morning. We would get up super early, and my parents would drive us down there,
Hmm.
and we would kind of commute back and forth. It
I
was
didn't know you went to Westlake High.
yeah,
Cool.
I was there for a while, and yeah, so that's that.
Okay. So childhood, any brothers or sisters that you were growing up with?
Yeah, I had four brothers. I have an older one, and I'm the second oldest.
Hmm.
And then I have two younger ones. I believe they're 18 and 15.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hmm.
And what was it growing up in the valley like? Like, did you like where you grew up?
Honestly, it was a little different, especially compared to Ventura County.
Hmm.
The valley can be kind of clustered and a bit overwhelming.
Like
Um,
how?
well, just like you got the cholos there,
Hmm.
and it's just like not the safest environment, or at least that's what my parents thought.
Hmm.
And I think that they didn't want us to grow up and become that.
Like hard gangsters?
Yeah, because a couple of my cousins from my dad's sides were in gangs and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I think that,
You're Mexican,
yes.
100%.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that that's what my parents were scared of.
Okay. And then, so in school, like, when did you? Are you primarily an alcoholic? Because you said alcoholic at the beginning.
Yes, primarily alcohol was my thing that I love to drink. Of course, it started off as a fun thing to do
Hmm.
on the weekends,
Hmm.
and then it just got out of hand. I mean, the first time I started to drink, it was fun. I had fun. I grew up pretty, like, I don't know. I was just like always shy. I was always shy, and I always felt like I didn't fit in. So I was always quiet. And when I started to drink, like that wall or those insecurities that I had kind of went away, and I was able to kind of be myself, so to say. Um,
Was there alcohol in the house, or how were you getting alcohol?
well, I didn't really start drinking until I was around 18, and even then, I would hang out with like older people, older coworkers, and we
Mhm.
would go to parties like every weekend. So alcohol was just there.
And
And
what was your job during that time? That they were coworkers.
I was working with disabled adults.
Okay, so you've been doing that for a long time.
Yes, I've been in this type of work. I've worked with disabled adults. I've worked with disabled children, and I've also worked with uh, elderly with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And I'm currently working at assisted living, helping seniors.
So back then, like, what even got you into working with disabled adults and children and such?
Well, at the time, my dad had a girlfriend, and she was working with disabled adults.
Okay, so you just
And
took an interest in like helping.
yeah, and I mean, because I had nothing to do. She asked if I wanted to come and volunteer with her, and I did, and I was there for a couple months, just like volunteering and helping, and it was pretty fun. I got to kind of like, ex- I kind of got to experience. I don't want to say the mindset of a disabled person, but I guess I got to know them, and I realized that they're pretty much just like us.
Right.
They just process things a little bit different.
Mhm.
And the longer I volunteered, eventually I knew how to do the job, and they offered me a job once I turned 18.
Okay.
And then from there, it was just, I went up.
But drinking started at a very, very young age?
No, drinking started around
18.
18.
18.
18.
Okay, so then,
Yeah, because growing up, my dad was so strict. Kind of, we were like the cookie cut family. Like we couldn't do anything that wasn't in his eyes okay, or we would get in trouble. And so I stayed away from like the drinking and the drugs and the partying. But once I was 18 and I didn't really have that control anymore
Right.
from him, I just started to kind of do what I wanted to do.
So as life went on, how old are you now?
I am 27.
Okay, and you're a year and a half sober?
Yes.
I've seen you
Mm-hmm.
for a few years. I think I first would see you down in Orange County at certain places where people meet up to go practice their recovery. That's for
Mm-hmm.
better sake of words. And back then, I used to see you, and you were very quiet.
Oh yeah.
You were to yourself. Um, you didn't say much to hardly anybody.
Yeah, I remember. I would sit in the back of the meetings. That was like my favorite place to go.
Right.
I'd have my headphones on because I didn't want anyone talking to me,
Hmm.
and I was just super like scared of everybody, scared of what people would think of me, scared of what they would say, and when I first got into recovery, like I didn't really know what to expect.
Hmm.
So that alone like had me in fear.
Hmm.
Mm.
Well, when you say that you were in fear of what? Like, what? Okay, so did you grow up a fearful, like youth? Like in your youth, were you a fearful individual?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I kind of mentioned before, my dad, he was super strict.
Hmm.
He was abusive mentally, physically, and verbally.
Okay.
So I was scared pretty much of doing anything wrong. So yeah.
Okay. And then, besides the trauma within the house, was there trauma growing up too that you can remember?
Of course, I remember at a very young age, my oldest brother started to molest me.
Hmm.
I think I was around 10 at the time, and I didn't say anything because I would get threatened by him,
Hmm.
and that lasted a while until like I was kind of old enough to like be like I knew what was going on already, and I knew that it wasn't right.
Is your oldest brother still in your life?
No, no.
Okay. Do you want to talk about it? Like, what happened to him? Is he
I don't mind talking about
gone?
it. Honestly, I don't really know what happened to
Mhm.
him because I was also kicked out of my house when I was 16,
Okay.
and after that, my mom and her side of the family kind of stopped talking to me,
Hmm.
and I moved to the San Fernando Valley permanently with my dad. So I don't really know anything.
This is your blood brother?
Yeah,
Okay. You just don't know where he is.
yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know where he is. I do know that. Um, Maybe a couple months back, I had the Ventura County Police Department call me in regards to my brother,
Mm.
and him speaking up about what he had done to me growing up.
Wow.
And
And were they coming to talk to you because something else had happened, or was there a report filed
um,
or something?
they weren't able to say over the phone,
Hmm.
but they offered me the opportunity to go and speak with them. And I chose not to,
Hmm.
just because like that chapter of my life I've already worked on,
Hmm.
and I did didn't really feel like opening it up and having to go through all that again.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. So, do you think that throughout your life, when you would drink, because of some of the trauma that you had endured, however much it was, that you were numbing out just so that you wouldn't feel, or did you like just drinking?
No, I mean, I definitely would say that I was numbing out. I
Mhm.
mean, I went from like having a big family. I had a few uncles and a few aunts, and we would all gather together and like celebrate the holidays and
Mhm.
whatnot. And
Did you have fun in those celebrations?
yeah, I had fun. And my uncles, at the time, they didn't have any kids, so they would take me and my brothers out to like the fair or like
Mm.
amusement parks. So it was super fun. Um, so I went from that to like not having it,
Mhm.
kind of just like it kind of made me feel some type of way. Like I felt sad and I
Mm.
felt abandoned and I felt hurt. And I guess like at the beginning, the drinking was fun,
Mhm.
but then I realized that I could numb myself. I didn't
Mhm.
have to feel any of those feelings. I didn't have to feel like the abandonment that I felt. I didn't have to feel like the guilt and the shame and
Mhm.
like people not wanting me. By people, I mean my family.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
So, okay, so down the line, like into your 20s, when when did drinking become a problem for you?
I think it became a problem once I didn't want to feel anything at all.
Which was like in what, your early 20s? I know the first time I met you, if you're 26 now, I think I probably met you when you were 23,
Around there, yeah.
right around there.
So I'd say like maybe 21, 21,
It started to
22.
become a problem.
Yeah, 21, I
How
think.
did it become a problem?
Well, I went from drinking on the weekends to drinking every other day to drinking every day to drinking 24/7.
Mhm.
I would drink at work on the DL.
What were you drinking?
Vodka
Straight?
straight.
My
I got to
God.
I got to the point where I could just drink it like water and it wouldn't like burn my throat or anything. Um, but yeah, I would drink to blackout.
At work?
No, I mean not at work,
Just
but in like if
on
I wasn't
purpose.
on, yeah, on purpose. If I wasn't at work,
Uh-huh.
I would drink to blackout.
Okay, because you just didn't want to feel.
Yeah, I was just tired of everything.
Hmm.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to kill myself, but I didn't want to live.
Any suicide attempts?
A few, yeah,
Any cutting?
yes, a lot.
How old were you when you first started cutting?
I'd say I was around 16 when I first started
How did
cutting.
you discover cutting? Was it by accident? Did someone tell you? Did you just think, if I cut myself, I won't have to feel this other shit I'm feeling?
I think I discovered it by someone else. I
Hmm.
don't think that I just like it came to mind. Let me just cut myself and see how it feels.
The reason I ask is I never had experience with cutting until I got sober and I was working
Mm,
in the field. And yesterday I had a girl on that was talking about BPD, borderline personality disorder. She talked about cutting, and I was like, "How did you come up with that?" Like,
mm.
but I guess, did somebody tell you? I mean, obviously you can't really remember, can you?
No,
You
no,
just, the idea came from someplace, and
yeah.
then you just knew.
And then I started to, and then once I started that, it kind of just gave me like this feeling, like a sense of rush, and um, I don't know how to describe it. I
Right.
just wanted to continue to do it.
Uh huh. Usually cutters don't cut themselves in a sense to where they're going to cut their veins because they're
Hmm.
going to, it's a suicide attempt. It's just so that it's to alleviate some kind of pain and to be able to not feel certain
Hmm.
things.
Hmm.
Correct.
Yeah,
So from cutting, then alcoholism kind of took its form and all that. Because you said
yeah,
16 was when you were cutting, and 18 is when you started drinking,
yeah.
and then by 21 it was becoming a
It
problem.
was becoming a problem.
So how did you address the problem? Did something happen? Was there any kind of crisis?
No, I mean, I guess yes, but it was just getting bad. Like,
So did you have a nervous breakdown or something?
no, Maybe.
Were you a drama queen? I
I
mean,
mean, who isn't a drama queen?
I mean, I could be a kind of a diva myself. You know this about me.
I do, but no, it just started to get bad. Like I, one time I was with friends in
Mhm.
West Hollywood, and I blacked out.
Okay.
And I woke up on some stairs, and I thought I was down like a couple streets from my friend's house. So I started walking.
Hmm.
Mind you, I didn't have my phone or my wallet, so
Hmm.
I figured somebody stole it. And I started walking around, and then I started to see all bars in WeHo, and I was like, what the heck?
Yeah, you
Like
can cuss.
I'm still
We host party town.
yeah, I'm
Like they don't
still in
fuck
West
around on there.
Hollywood, and I was like, that was my first time
Yeah.
blacking out, and
Your
like
first time blacking out? I thought you were blacking out before.
no, like in like public,
Oh, in public,
like
amongst
WeHo.
friends.
Yeah, and
Were
then
you going
those.
to the Abbey?
No, we went to Mickey's.
Oh,
I
I know
think
Mickey's.
Mickey's.
How do I know Mickey's, right? No, I know Mickey's. Mickey's
Yeah,
was the happening spot.
yeah, and it was fun back in
Yeah.
the day.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was my first time blacking out in public, and then it just started to happen. Like I'd wake up outside the bars.
Hmm.
I would wake up in people's houses that I didn't know who they
Hmm.
were.
So you were pretty much blacking out and wait, like we say in a lot of recovery circles, the classic thing is waking up in strange places around strange people, not knowing how the fuck I got here.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And I think towards the end, like I would not be able to even make it into my apartment. There was this one time, like I passed out right in front of the gate, like trying to get in, and my dad found me because he had to be up the next morning for work, and it was just like super embarrassing. And from there was like times where I'd wet my own bed.
Mhm.
There was times where I'd wake up in the kitchen on the floor, like in puddles of my own urine. And
So if your dad was strict and he was finding you like that, was he like going off on you, or was he kind of becoming more compassionate to the fact that you're not doing well?
I think but maybe a mixture of both, because my dad was strict, and I think that because him and my mom separated,
Hmm.
and I think that kind of did something to him,
Hmm.
because when me and him reconnected, he kind of wasn't the same person anymore,
Hmm.
and he was a lot more compassionate and understanding,
Hmm.
and I know.
Isn't that like I very much relate to you in that sense because I had a very stern and strict father that used to he was physical. He was verbal. There was a lot of punishment. Sometimes it was with hands and objects and things. But isn't it a trip to see like when our fathers actually have kind of simmered it down and changed their flying off the handle type of behaviors and like they see us for who they are as their kids and they want to try to help us because my
Mhm.
dad really calmed down over the years.
Yeah.
Like he really calmed down. It's a beautiful thing,
It is.
right?
Like, I honestly resented my dad, and I wanted nothing to do with him.
But you ended up still living at his house all the
Yeah,
time.
when I was kicked out, he ended up taking me in, and it was super awkward at first.
Well, when you
But
say kicked out, who kicked you out?
my mom kicked me out of her house
Okay.
when I was 16.
Okay.
And yeah, so once my dad took me in, it was awkward at first, but like little by little, we started kind of like developing a relationship that we didn't have
Hmm.
growing up. And to this day, like me and my dad are super close. He's like my number one supporter, and he accepts me for like who I am.
Mhm.
And I knew that the the drinking and him like having to like go through that and like
Mhm.
seeing me
Mhm.
like passed out in the bathroom floor, I think it did a lot to him. And I think at that point, I knew,
It's probably scared the shit out of him.
yeah. And at that point, like I knew that obviously like this wasn't normal, and I had to do something about it.
Gotcha. Well, now I want to ask you a few more things. Now, so I met you.
Hmm.
I'd see you in the rooms. You looked like a young man that was sitting in the corner, right? I didn't know who you were. You were very nice and friendly. Like you said highs and byes. That's about
Hmm.
it. That's as far as I went. You were kind of silent, kind of mute, right? Then I believe that you were staying sober. You had gone to treatment.
Hmm.
I think that's why I would see you is because you were gone to treatment and down in Orange County.
Hmm.
Um, And I think you put some time together. I think you had actually gotten sober and you were working down in Orange County and like staying in a sober living, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I was staying at Jordan's sober
Yes.
living.
Then I got a call saying that you're not doing well and you were struggling. And I guess you had gone to Encino or like back up to LA.
Hmm.
And you had been drinking.
Yeah.
You weren't in like taking recovery seriously, so you had been drinking. I helped you during that time. I don't know if you know that or not, but like I helped you get back into treatment, and
Hmm.
you did go to treatment, and actually you were there for a long time. It was a really good center too,
Yes.
and I think you put a lot of time together. But then, uh, here was the weird thing: during the time that you were there, suddenly I start hearing people refer to. They're saying your name, but they keep saying her, she, and I'm like, who are we talking about here?
Hmm.
I'm like, Jordie, like Jordan, like what do you mean her, she? Well, she identifies as a female. I'm like, okay, fair. I didn't even know that because when I was talking to you, like I didn't know
Yeah.
that, right? So so it was news to my ears. But then I would see you, and I thought, okay, like I get it. Like a lot of people say trans or
Hmm.
transgender or in transition and all that. So I didn't know. But then after a while, like it took me a little while to have to actually uh, get acclimated to referring to you as she.
Yeah.
Right now, obviously, non-binary is something that that's a term where usually they are referred to as they or their. Right.
Hmm.
So you and then we talked about this a lot too, as far as being androgynous.
Hmm.
I mean, I love Prince, and Prince has always been referred to as an androgynous
Yes.
individual. He's a man that can wear heels and put on eyeliner and steal your woman. I mean, I've loved that about him all throughout my life. I don't know why I did, because
Hmm.
where I was raised in Salt Lake City, Utah, like that type of stuff would have been referred to as like that's gay and this and that, right? So, but for some reason, like just I learned to love like Prince being able to identify with both his male and female side, like because he was inside with his feminine side and his masculine side, and
Hmm.
he just had that ability. So in getting to know you over the years and seeing you, like you're one of my dearest friends, and it's so cool to see the many styles you have.
Yeah.
Like I can't dress, I can't. I've done the little face filter shits like on I'm not a pretty woman. Like I wouldn't make a pretty woman. When I see some of your pictures and stuff, I'm like, yeah, like she wears that shit well. I
Hmm.
mean, so the hairstyles and all that stuff. That I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm fascinated by your style. What made you decide to start identifying as she, or do you still?
I still identify as she. I prefer it. It's what makes me more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think growing up, I always knew that I was different.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until I did. I was in theater actually, and they let me play with makeup, and I was like, "This is pretty cool."
Uh-huh.
And since then, I started to kind of like mess around and play with makeup.
Mm-hmm. You
And
do really good with makeup, not just on yourself, with others too.
thank you. But yeah, and then I kind of just started to like I was really influenced by like a lot of the social media and like Jeffree Star and Patrick Star and like all the makeup artists and like seeing them being able to be themselves kind of had like a big influence on me.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of just like built or not built it helped shape me and mold me into the person that I am today.
Mm-hmm.
I like to wear acrylic nails.
Right.
I like to change my hairstyles,
A lot.
hair
And you
colors.
have really good hair.
Thank
So
you.
you have the ability to like change your hair like every other day if you want to do.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to do anything with my hair in about 2.5 decades. I mean, I could on the sides, maybe. Maybe one of these days I could grow out the sides of my hair. We could bleach it blonde and then like do some green
Let's do
tints.
it.
I'm sure you would like to.
But yeah, and I like to refer to myself as a chameleon.
Okay.
I think that defines me.
Hmm.
I change everything about
You
me.
do.
Nothing is always the same.
Right. I love that. So, couple of things. Like, do you feel like people look at you weird, different? Are they judging you? I mean, there was that fear when you said in the beginning when you were coming to the recovery rooms, you would sit in the back of the room, but like, or do you not even give a shit?
I mean, obviously that fear was there at the beginning.
Mhm.
I had mentioned, I was scared and I sat in the back of the room.
Mhm.
But I think with working the program and my fellowship and like surrounding myself with people that genuinely care about me, it
Mhm.
kind of gave me the confidence to be myself.
Mhm.
And today, like, I obviously don't care
Mhm.
about what anybody has to say.
Right. You
Um,
don't have an identity crisis.
no. Sometimes like I have this like little mini cute handbag that's like so extra that I walk around with.
Right.
I just like to be extra, I guess,
Mhm.
but be me, be
You've never
loud.
gotten beaten up for your preference or how you present yourself, correct? Bullied, beaten? No?
No,
Good. You lucked out
I lucked out
because there are
because
people that happens to.
yeah.
Now, so when I did get you into treatment that one time, afterwards you were there for a long time.
Well, yeah, I was only supposed to be there for detox, I
Right. For
think.
some reason, you ended up there for like over a year.
Well, I was encouraged by my house managers to at least do 30 days of treatment. And I didn't want to do it. And I was
Mhm.
crying on the phone. I was like, no, I want to go back home, blah,
Mhm.
blah, 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 blah. But the more I stayed at that treatment center,
Mhm.
the more I ended up liking it.
Yeah,
Like the
it's a
people,
good place.
yeah, the staff was super welcoming and super supporting
Mhm.
and caring.
Right.
And that's what made me want to stay.
You stayed for so long, you became like one of the main family members of that whole center because it was such a familial feel
Mhm.
and you were so loved. And I remember I was working there at the time.
Yeah.
So I would often walk into the grounds and see you sitting with, your friends. There were certain friends that you had. And it was my understanding, like did you get it full year or almost a year?
I think I had a year there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then some shit happened, and I remember that you started hanging out with somebody that you later regretted. Um, this person introduced you to more than alcohol,
Hmm.
and you went off the Richter.
Yeah.
Like it got so bad that you ended up, from what I remember, becoming not homeless, well, homeless. Like
Yes.
you were basically staying at work in some room.
Yeah. I ended up just going on a crazy ride.
How long was that for?
I think it was for a week.
Okay.
A week, and then my treatment center that I was at, because I left that treatment center to go hang out with that person,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Yeah, you can't come back,"
Right.
and I was like, okay, then I'm just gonna keep drinking. Like, what else am I gonna do? I'm not
Right.
gonna cry over it. And yeah, then it just went downhill from there.
So, but then after, how long were you out for then? Just a week?
I'd say around a week, maybe a
Okay.
little
But then you
over.
came back, and then that's when we kind of got in each other's lives again.
Yeah, I was living at my work in their break room.
In their break room, and they didn't
Yeah,
mind that?
they didn't mind it. They were super supporting of recovery.
Nice.
Um,
They knew that you were obviously in recovery before and that you were trying to get back in.
yeah.
So, why did you take it so serious when you came back?
I think it wasn't until like I lost what I had. Like I couldn't go back to the treatment center.
You had lost everything.
Yeah, I lost my place to stay. I lost myself in process, and I just didn't. It's just this feeling that it's hard to describe.
Mhm.
Like I almost felt. No, I felt broken. I
Mhm.
felt defeated and I felt broken.
Mhm.
And it was a feeling that I never want to feel ever again.
Mhm.
I think it was like the lowest that I've ever been or have gotten.
Look, Camille just said, "I love you." She was part of you.
She
She was
was.
one of the ones that pushed you in the direction of getting
She
better.
was. She was super
Melissa
sweet.
said, Melissa Simon said, "Hey Jordie, I remember seeing you around. We were at the same treatment."
Oh,
Cena.
Cena.
And of course, Buzz. I love Jordie's honesty. Okay, so you came back around us. We put you in a position where you were able to get a job closer to a house that you were staying at, and you took this shit by the horns.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I watched it. It was fucking awesome, like remarkable to be able to see you, who had struggled for so many years throughout your 20s, finally come back and just get really serious with this. And there was a time when you were really afraid to speak up and to say things. Now that I hear about your dad being strict and stern, I wonder to myself, like, I wonder if I reminded him of his dad because of the setting that we were in.
I didn't want to say anything.
But the cool thing was, after a while, what I noticed with you is that you suddenly got a voice, and you would speak up for yourself. And if something didn't seem right, that like wasn't jiving with the way you were doing recovery, you'd say something. Whether you said it to me or you'd say it to others, you would say it. Like there was a point where Jordie wasn't going to put up with any bullshit, and I really love that. You started doing the work. You started doing whatever work it took in the recovery world. You also therapy, correct?
Yes, therapy.
Still doing therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Between a spiritual way of life, you've been moving mountains. I mean, this is amazing. And then the job that you got, I remember that you and I got to experience COVID together when it really hit hard. And obviously, working in a senior center with people that are very old and fragile, that was difficult.
It was.
Now, something I often wondered was I'd see you in your scrubs getting ready to go to work, right? This is like a daily thing, right? And you were, I can't remember or not. I think I asked you one time, but like when you're working with like these old folk, are you when you're there at work, like are you allowed to have that color hair?
It's not permitted in the regulations or the whatever rules, but honestly, nobody says anything to me. If anything, the elderly encourage me. They're always like picking a hair color for me to have.
I love that. I fucking love that. So wait, is there ever, obviously you get a mixed bag or a mixed bunch of people that you're working with. Is there ever any of like the old ones that just look at you and they're like, what the fuck? Like what's going on? No. They all love it?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, I'm not going to say all of them love them, but I don't have any negative.
Do you wear makeup at work?
Sometimes. Most of the time I don't.
Do you wear the earrings or anything like that?
I wear the earrings, the hair, the nails.
The nails even.
Yeah, and I'm sure like they're not accustomed to it.
Yeah.
But they're so loving and so open that they're willing to accept me for who I am.
I love that.
And I think that is why I love doing what I do, because there's no judgment. I can be myself and I can help others. And I feel like that's what I enjoy doing the most, is being there for other people.
So during the time of COVID, obviously, it was a very sensitive time. You were working amongst older people. I think you had gotten COVID too, right? I had gotten COVID too. And then you had to quarantine, but didn't some people pass away that were there?
Yeah, a couple of the people that I took care of passed away during COVID, during the COVID outbreak.
Do you get so close to them that it hurts your heart when they pass away, or do you just expect it and it kind of be like you're desensitized and you're used to it? Because these people are in their last dying days when they're usually there anyway, right?
Most of them are, yeah.
It's hospice?
No, I mean, some of them are on hospice, but most of the time they're just assisted living. And sometimes they're fine. Like nothing's really wrong with them. They just need like a little assistance here and there. But then, of course, with them getting older, sometimes they develop different things and require hospice and stuff like that. So obviously they end up going. But I try not to really attach myself to them, just because like I already know you're already a ball of emotion. So if you start getting too attached, you're gonna start crying and shit. Yeah, and so I try not to. But I mean, obviously, sometimes I can't help it, and it does get sad because like you're with. Like I'm with these people all the time, like 24/7 pretty much. And I develop some type of relationship with them.
Right.
And it just sucks when they go, but I just try to like not let it get to me. And obviously, they're in a better place.
So I believe, this is what I believe, you're doing God's work. Mm, I think some of the most humbling moments that we can have in our lives is when we are being of service, not just to be of service to people, but be of service to people that are older, that uh, have lived a long life and maybe going soon. I used to have a friend before he passed away. His sponsees would come. Sorry, whoops. He was a spiritual advisor to certain people. The people that he was mentoring would come to him, and there was one guy in particular said that he was crying a lot and depressed and sad. And during that time, this is like way before COVID. Um, this guy would tell him, "Why don't you go grab a tray of and go get like roses and put them on the tray and go into like a convalescent home." And go and hand them out to all of the different people and just tell them that you love them.
That's awesome.
To get out of self, to not be
Yeah.
so like thinking about yourself and being so depressed. Go there and see how short life is and be of service to those people. And I think what you're doing, like you are basically, you show so much love. You care. You change people's diapers, if I'm not mistaken. You're
Yeah.
showering them, right?
Yeah, basically showering them, changing them,
Feeding them.
making sure that their beds are made, they have clean laundry, basically looking out for them. It's super, super like heartwarming. Even like the residents that I care for, their children, are in constant contact with me and like telling me how they're so grateful for me, and just checking in on me when I'm not at work, wondering why I'm not there and stuff like that. So it just fulfills me at the end of the day.
I love it.
I love what I do.
I love it. You're comfortable in your skin.
Very much so.
You're living with sober roommates. You're happy in your sobriety.
Yes.
What's some of your future plans that you want to do with yourself?
Well, I think that I haven't had my license in a while, so I think I want to work on getting that
Driver's license.
Yeah, and then eventually getting a car.
Nice.
And I don't know. I kind of don't like to plan things.
You should make a makeup line.
That would be fun.
Would you like it?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
Would you be like my?
I could probably help push you in that direction for sure.
No, I mean like, can I?
Oh, like you want to put makeup on me? Sure. Why not? Where would you start? You need to trim up these eyebrows of mine. I've never actually gone somewhere to have my eyebrows trimmed.
Well, we can start with that.
I know. I think we've had a couple of Persian boys that we put in your path that you have been able to trim up. I mean, sure.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's such a joy to have you on here. Like this has been so nice. I love that you took sobriety so seriously at such a young age. You know what I mean? Like when I was 26 years old, that was like the last thing I was thinking of was to get completely sober. But boy, like you're really doing this thing.
You know? I'm glad that I was able to get it now, because at the beginning I didn't really take it seriously,
right?
And I didn't think that I could like ever be sober. And
you're so plugged into this recovery community too.
Yeah, I have a good fellowship. I have a few home groups. I have more than one, and I have a really good sponsor that I love and communicate with them with like any little thing.
Right.
He's always like down and open to hear and be there for me. And I just, the love that I feel from him, from you, from my fellowship, from my roommates, friends, it just makes me want to stay.
I did want to bring up one last thing real quick that was of great importance, and that you went through one of the sober livings that we have. And I think this is a really big deal, and it should be talked about a lot more. There are people who are transgender that have a hard time getting into sober livings because they get discriminated upon. Sometimes, depending on if they're in transition, if they do not have female parts or male parts, usually some sober livings will just kind of tell them we're full, like to basically say like we don't have room for you, because they don't know what to do, where to put them, right? I myself, as you know, opened a co-ed house, which was, I'd never really believed in co-ed sober livings before, because when I hear co-ed, I think everyone's sleeping in each other's beds, right? But during that time, I was working with somebody that was a female. You know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That was identifying as a male, but still had female parts. So I couldn't just put that individual into an all male house because he had female parts.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting a female house manager and just having two different sides, females on this side, males on this side. And you were in that house for a while too. So, but I remember that in trying to find, we couldn't keep that individual in our house because the person kept acting out. I scoured sober livings from Los Angeles to Orange County to San Diego, and everybody I would talk to, everyone I talked to, they would always come up with 1,000 excuses of what we can't, we can't take that person, we can't because they this and that, and they identify. One person actually even said like, due to like access on the spectrum or something like that, like there's too many issues that come with those people. And the person that told me this was, I won't say who it was, but it was kind of alarming to get that, to be told that. But I want to let it be known that you came to our house and as non-binary, and it was never a problem. I don't think I ever had a fucking problem with you once. There was never a time where there was no episodes, no acting out. You were actually like one of the most coachable and teachable human beings and individuals that came through our house. And look at you now. Look at you now. I mean, you've got fucking bluish, greenish hair. You're so sober. Your eyes are matching your hair. No, but you're just a beautiful human being, a beautiful soul. Like truly one of my favorite humans. And when we interact, like it's always a joy to hear from you. I think that I would like to see you help a lot of people, especially, the ones that think that they're different and no one will love them or no one will accept them.
And that's kind of like why I was super excited to be on this podcast, because I wanted to be of service to others that were non-binary or in the same spectrum, part of the LGBTQ plus community, that you can get sober. It is possible to get sober, and you just gotta like find the right people and stick with them, and those people will love you no matter what. That's what happened for me. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I would be here today, and I wouldn't embrace who I really am.
A lot of people love you, Jordie. I don't know if you know that or not.
Of course I do.
And I'm glad that did you wear the Gaga shirt because of
I
me?
did.
Okay, because you just know my love and adoration for Gaga. Yeah. Is there anything you want to say before we sign out, over and out?
No, I mean, I am just super, super glad that you had me here today.
I love you, dearly.
I hope that this touches people or inspires others, helps people, whatever the case may be.
I'm certain it will.
We do recover.
We do recover. Well, with that said, I want to thank my friend Jordie for coming to the corner. I love you all very much, and we will be back on Sunday with another special guest on Pej's Recovery Corner. Much love to all. Bye.